This is a full-blown circus of betrayal, fists flying, and scandals so messy they make reality TV look scripted. Picture this: King Harris, the son of the self-proclaimed King of the South, T.I., in a physical altercation with none other than Boosie Badass. The kind of confrontation that left the internet collectively gasping, with thousands of videos and memes spreading faster than anyone could keep up. And just when you think the chaos couldn't escalate further, whispers of a leaked tape began circulating. A tape with the potential to destroy reputations overnight, dragging Boosie's son into the spotlight and fueling speculation about whether this was an innocent accident or a meticulously orchestrated setup. Every detail, every hand motion, every word caught on camera suddenly seemed loaded with meaning. And the question on everyone's mind became, who was really pulling the strings behind the scenes? The moment the confrontation erupted, chaos took center stage. King Harris lunged, voices were raised, and smartphones captured every second. The fight unfolded like a scene from a blockbuster, with punches, shoves, and heated exchanges that made it impossible to look away. Within minutes, the sirens were blaring, but the outcome wasn't what many expected. It wasn't Boosie who ended up in handcuffs, nor some random bystander swept up in the melee. It was King Harris. The mugshot went viral almost instantly, plastered across news outlets and social media, while T.I., the father, erupted online, claiming it was all a setup and that his son was being unfairly targeted. Suddenly, what appeared to be a simple street fight had escalated into a high-stakes spectacle, one that threatened the legacy of a man whose brand had been meticulously built over decades. The implications were staggering, and as viewers around the world tried to make sense of the chaos, a bigger question loomed. Was King Harris merely a pawn in a dangerous game designed to humiliate the King of the South himself? To understand why this eruption happened, we have to rewind. The tension between T.I. and Boosie didn't appear overnight. Their rivalry has been simmering under the surface for years, fueled by old resentments, ego clashes, and the competitive nature of the Southern rap scene. Both men carved their names into hip-hop history with distinct legacies. T.I., the polished businessman, reality TV star, and Grammy winner. Boosie, the unfiltered, streetwise lyricist who never shied away from controversy. Both were respected in their own circles, but both also carried scars from past betrayals and challenges, and their differing approaches to life and fame only amplified friction between them. Then came the alleged subliminal shade. According to anonymous sources, Boosie publicly questioned T.I.'s credibility during a live interview, suggesting that the self-proclaimed King of the South was no longer deserving of his throne. For T.I., whose entire persona is built around his royalty in the rap game, those words were not just insulting, they were incendiary. It was the spark needed to ignite the powder keg of months, maybe years, of simmering tension. The showdown took place at a private industry event in Atlanta, a gathering meant for networking, celebration, and business deals, not physical altercations. Yet what transpired behind closed doors stunned everyone in attendance. Witnesses reported that T.I. approached Boosie, whispered something heated in his ear, and within seconds, the two were shoving and yelling. The room erupted as punches flew, and within moments, every witness had a phone recording the melee. No one put their devices away. The allure of capturing a high-profile celebrity fight was too strong. But the physical confrontation was only the beginning. Within hours, a tape surfaced that was far more explosive than simple footage of a brawl. The video, allegedly, showed T.I. screaming threats, exposing secrets, and dragging Boosie's name through the mud. What had started as a fight over respect had morphed into a battle for survival, legacy, and control over the narrative. The internet's reaction was immediate and intense. Fans flooded social media with hashtags like King's Setup, Boosie exposed T.I., and Free the Receipts, debating every move, every line, every gesture. Memes painted T.I. as dethroned and Boosie as the ultimate chaos agent, while fake receipts and doctored screenshots fueled the speculation. The narrative shifted from a simple fight to a complex story of betrayal, power, and control. Every second T.I. stayed silent, the void was filled by Boosie's increasingly bold and public antics, leaving the hip-hop community and fans worldwide engrossed in the unfolding drama. The stakes were no longer just personal, they were industry-shattering. Lawyers immediately mobilized on both sides. Motions to suppress evidence, counterclaims, and demands for full access to recordings began circulating. Court dates appeared on calendars while journalists monitored every development. Rumors of federal investigations, possibly even a RICO case, added a layer of intensity to the legal battle. What had started as a private feud was now a potential multi-million-dollar, multi-year litigation war with the ability to reshape careers, destroy legacies, and rewrite hip-hop history. King Harris, now infamous for his role in the incident, faced ridicule, memes, and viral jokes online. His arrest became symbolic of the chaos surrounding the T.I. and Boosie feud. T.I., in Instagram Lives, claimed the scandal was a strategic takedown, yet his silence allowed speculation to flourish. Boosie, meanwhile, doubled down on his image, mocking T.I., flaunting alleged receipts, and leveraging the controversy to promote himself. Industry insiders warned that both men were walking a tightrope. Any misstep could trigger career-ending consequences. The power struggle had shifted from physical confrontation to control over public perception, with social media becoming the ultimate battlefield. However, King Harris is back in the headlines, but it's not for the reasons we might have expected. We're not talking about his infamous Waffle House altercation or skipped court appearances. No. This time, the storm comes from something much more personal and much more explosive. Reports are circulating that King's child's mother allegedly leaked what fans are calling a compromising video of King Harris. And as always with celebrity culture, whether the video is authentic or not almost doesn't matter. The internet reacts, and it reacts fast, often harshly, and always without mercy. For years, rumors have swirled around King's image and personal life. Questions about his sexuality, claims about his relationships, and speculation about his parenting have all formed a cloud of scrutiny that follows him wherever he goes. And now, all of those whispers are resurfacing with a vengeance. I had a conversation with my son and his uncles about this whole situation, and it really underscores the disconnect between perception and reality. We were perplexed by King's need to engage in petty conflicts, like the argument with the Waffle House short order cook. Why stop what you're doing to engage with someone whose world is completely different from yours? I had to explain that when people are not living the life they want, when they feel powerless or unfulfilled, they often posture or act out in ways that don't make sense. And when you, like King, are walking around with so much freedom and privilege, you have a choice. You can either get caught up in their drama, or you can remove yourself from that energy and enjoy your own life. This advice, though sound in theory, is easier said than done, especially when the world is watching your every move and waiting for you to slip up. The latest video leak only reignited old conversations about King Harris's life, particularly rumors questioning whether he's truly the father of his child. Since the very beginning of his Kurtner's pregnancy announcement, speculation has been relentless. The most discussed point was the age gap between King and his partner's mother. Critics suggested she was older and might have strategically entered the relationship, fueling a narrative that the pregnancy was calculated to secure financial stability, fame, and access to the Harris family name. Social media users began dissecting every public appearance, every photograph, every social media post looking for evidence to confirm their suspicions. Clips of King with his partner and newborn were reposted endlessly, sparking fierce debates. Some argued the child didn't resemble him at all, while others claimed King was simply trying to display his maturity, to prove he was ready to step into the role of a father. Every attempt he made to quell the rumors seemed to amplify them, showing how just volatile and unforgiving public perception can be. King's efforts to show the resemblance between himself and his child, even calling the baby his twin and posting numerous photos, did little to silence the critics. In fact, the harder he tried, the more scrutiny he attracted. This speaks to a broader truth about celebrity culture. Once speculation begins, it becomes almost impossible to control. Every move is analyzed, every smile is dissected, and every public interaction is scrutinized under the lens of past controversies. And for King, this isn't just about rumors regarding his child, it's also about ongoing speculation surrounding his sexuality. For years, whispers and innuendos have shaped how audiences interpret his every move, his every word, and even his public appearances. When the pregnancy was announced, many assumed it was a strategic move to present a more conventional, straight-laced image. And now with this alleged video circulating, critics are claiming that this was the plan all along: use fatherhood as a shield to quiet the conversation, to create a narrative that King could control. But the story doesn't end there. King Harris has long been accused of adopting a persona that doesn't quite match his upbringing. Observers have noted his attempts to project a gangster image, stepping into online beefs, posting tough guy photos, and presenting himself as a streetwise figure, yet the reality of his life tells a different story. Raised by T.I. and Tiny, surrounded by wealth and comfort, and spending significant time living with his grandmother, King's actual experiences don't align with the hardships typically associated with the image he portrays. Even King himself has spoken about his time living with his grandmother, going there after shoots, and returning to a life of stability. This tension between perception and reality fuels skepticism and criticism, and it's something the public seems unable or unwilling to ignore. It's almost as if King is fighting two battles at the same time. On one side, he's trying to prove himself as a dedicated father and young man, someone worthy of respect and recognition. On the other side, he's attempting to convince the public that he has street credibility, that he's a hardened figure capable of navigating the tough realities of life outside privilege. But every attempt to straddle these two worlds only seems to highlight the contradictions in his persona. The Waffle House incident, for instance, where he engaged in a heated argument with employees, raised eyebrows not just because of his behavior, but because it seemed so disconnected from the life he actually leads. The viral clip captured him gesturing aggressively, raising his voice, and acting in a way that seemed uncharacteristic for someone with the advantages King has enjoyed. The public, always hungry for drama, seized upon it, turning a minor dispute into a nationwide talking point. The scrutiny intensified when T.I. went live to comment on his son's behavior, expressing disbelief and disappointment. He emphasized that King lives a life most people could only dream about and shouldn't be engaging in petty conflicts. But even the fatherly advice seemed to have little effect. King's name continued to surface for all the wrong reasons, reinforcing the narrative of recklessness and immaturity that the media and the public seemed determined to pin on him. And just when it seems like things couldn't escalate further, King's 2024 arrest footage surfaced, revealing a serious incident that had been whispered about for months. According to law enforcement, King nearly collided with a patrol car while leaving a gas station in Georgia. Officers reported smelling marijuana in his BMW and also spotting a firearm on his hip. An outstanding warrant from 2022 appeared on the record for missed court appearances, including speeding violations and a DUI-related charge. The footage shows King being pulled from the vehicle, cuffed, and escorted to jail. Calm and cooperative, but the public's reaction was anything but calm. Critics use this footage as proof that his public image was slipping further and further from control, connecting it to previous controversies and long-standing rumors about his lifestyle.
As if the situation weren't complicated enough, rapper Boosie jumped into the conversation, making pointed comments not just about King, but about T.I. This move instantly escalated the drama, drawing public attention to a simmering feud between two influential figures in hip-hop culture. Boosie's involvement added a layer of complexity because of his own controversial history, particularly regarding comments about sexuality and homophobia. His previous remarks about his daughter being gay, for instance, forced public apologies and painted him as a figure prone to inflammatory statements. This only magnified the scrutiny when he turned his attention to King and T.I., with critics calling out hypocrisy and opportunism. Boosie's feud with T.I. is far from new. It started with comments about Dwayne Wade's daughter and escalated over accusations of snitching related to old federal gun cases. Over time, their back and forth expanded into critiques of parenting, family dynamics, and personal image. Social media became the battleground, blurring the line between public entertainment and private conflict. By 2023, tensions reignited, and Boosie's sudden involvement in King's situation was seen as a calculated opportunity to strike where it would hurt the most: T.I. and his family. Once the alleged tape circulated, online commentary exploded, with some users making cruel comparisons to cartoon characters, and the comment that King about to be queen igniting a new round of identity-based speculation. However, King Harris has long been a figure of public fascination, not just because of who his parents are, but because of the persona he presents online. For years, fans have speculated about his lifestyle, his motivations, and even his identity. Some have claimed that King is putting on a front, attempting to project a gangster image that doesn't match the reality of his privileged upbringing. Others have suggested that certain storylines in his life, particularly his relationship with his baby mama and the birth of his child, might be strategic moves designed to control the narrative and protect his public image. The latest wave of drama began when King's baby mama allegedly leaked what fans are calling a compromising tape involving him. Whether the footage is authentic or not seems almost irrelevant to the internet. Once a story hits social media, it becomes a narrative in itself, regardless of the facts. The public reaction was immediate, intense, and relentless. As always, old rumors resurfaced: whispers about King's sexuality, skepticism about his parenting, and speculation that his public persona is more of a performance than reality. Fans revisited old claims that his baby mama might have been motivated by financial gain, accusing her of entering the relationship strategically to secure her place in the Harris family empire. These accusations reignited debates about the age gap between King and his partner, with online commentators suggesting that the pregnancy might have been a calculated move to cement her access to the fame, fortune, and connections that come with the Harris name. When photos and clips of King with his baby and his partner were reposted across social media, the online scrutiny intensified. Instead of calming the public, each post seemed to amplify speculation. Some fans questioned whether the baby even resembled King, while others argued he was simply trying to display maturity and responsibility. In an effort to quash the rumors, King posted multiple images of his child, referring to the baby as his twin and insisting on a strong resemblance. Yet, despite his attempts to convince the public, the speculation continued. For many, this wasn't just about the child. It was about the narrative surrounding King himself. The harder he tried to assert his fatherhood, the more scrutiny he seemed to attract, and the more it became clear that online audiences were determined to pick apart every detail. One of the reasons King Harris has been so heavily scrutinized online is the stark contrast between his public image and his actual upbringing. For years, fans have accused him of adopting a gangster persona, acting tough and stepping into public beefs that many feel he didn't need to engage in. He projects an image of someone hardened by struggle, claiming street credibility that some fans feel is unearned. However, the reality of his life tells a very different story. King grew up with T.I. and Tiny as parents, surrounded by financial stability, opportunities, and safety nets most people could only dream of. He also spent significant time living with his grandmother, an environment that is far removed from the hardships of the streets he often claims to represent. This disconnect between perception and reality has become a recurring theme in discussions about King. Every time he posts videos or comments online about being from the hood or about toughness, the comment sections light up with skepticism. Fans often respond with phrases like, "Be serious," or "Stop acting," suggesting that his persona feels forced and performative. This duality in King's life, balancing the image of a tough street figure with the reality of a privileged upbringing, creates tension. On one hand, he is trying to prove he is a grown man and a responsible father. On the other, he is attempting to maintain street credibility that doesn't necessarily align with his background. The result, at least in the eyes of the public, is a perception of instability and inauthenticity that fuels endless debate online. The drama escalated significantly with the now infamous Waffle House incident. In viral footage, King is seen arguing with employees, gesturing aggressively, and raising his voice in a way that many viewers found shocking. For a young man raised with privilege and fame, the public outcry was swift. Fans criticized him for being out of touch, spoiled, and unnecessarily confrontational. To the casual observer, it appeared less like an authentic show of toughness and more like a tantrum dressed up in bravado. This wasn't lost on T.I., who publicly addressed the incident. In a live session, T.I. expressed disbelief that his son would engage in such behavior with someone simply doing their job. He reminded King of his privileges and opportunities he has, emphasizing that wasting energy on petty arguments demonstrates insecurity rather than strength. T.I.'s intervention added another layer to the drama. Now the public wasn't just scrutinizing King, they were watching the father-son dynamic unfold in real time. Some fans applauded T.I. for holding his son accountable publicly, while others questioned whether airing family matters online might further complicate King's already precarious reputation.
The situation took a more serious turn when King's 2024 arrest footage emerged online. According to police reports, the incident began when King nearly collided with a patrol car while leaving a gas station in Georgia. Officers noticed marijuana in the vehicle and also observed a firearm on his hip, which escalated the situation. Upon checking his record, police discovered an outstanding warrant from 2022 related to multiple offenses, including reckless driving, speeding, and a DUI. King had skipped required court appearances, leaving the warrant unresolved for years. In the video, King appeared surprisingly calm, showing none of the aggression fans had come to expect from his online persona. Yet, the public reaction was anything but calm. Social media exploded with commentary linking this incident to his past controversies, framing it as part of a larger pattern of recklessness and poor judgment. To many, the arrest confirmed that King's gangster persona had not translated into real-life consequences, and the narrative of instability only grew stronger. The arrest footage became another piece in the puzzle, a visual confirmation of the growing divide between King's public image and the reality of his actions. Just when the story seemed contained to King, rapper Boosie entered the conversation, making comments directed not at King, but at T.I., criticizing his parenting and suggesting that how King turned out was a reflection of his father's influence. Boosie's involvement amplified the controversy because he's not just a random social media commentator. He has a history of making controversial statements, particularly about sexuality, and has faced backlash for previous comments about his own daughter, Iona, who is gay. Boosie had to publicly apologize for those remarks, which made his criticism of T.I. and King feel hypocritical to many fans. This wasn't just playful shade, it was a calculated move to bring T.I.'s parenting and reputation into question. The timing couldn't have been worse for the Harris family, as the leaked footage and viral clips already had the internet dissecting King's behavior. Boosie's intervention turned what might have been a contained scandal into a broader, high-profile feud, drawing in fans, media outlets, and other commentators eager to weigh in. T.I. didn't stay silent. He publicly defended his family, making it clear that anyone disrespecting them crossed a line. He denied all allegations of wrongdoing or snitching and warned that he wouldn't hesitate to confront anyone threatening his family's reputation. T.I.'s intervention was decisive, but it also intensified the feud with Boosie. Their past tensions, which included accusations and personal disputes, made this conflict about more than just words. It was about legacy, credibility, and respect in the public eye. The feud continued to escalate, with Boosie making additional comments aimed at T.I.'s credibility and parenting choices. He criticized him for being controlling, particularly over his daughter, and called into question his decisions during past legal troubles. T.I. responded in kind, asserting that he had no obligation to defend someone who consistently disrespected him and his family. The cycle of online comments, videos, and interviews added layers to an already complex situation, leaving King squarely in the middle of a battle far larger than his own controversies.
The ripple effects reached beyond the two rappers. Sponsors reconsidered deals, promoters worried about public safety at shows, and fans debated loyalty to legends and authenticity. Media coverage amplified the chaos, with every statement, meme, or leak becoming a viral talking point. Discussions about contracts, federal cooperation, and industry secrets turned the saga into a sprawling drama, affecting not just T.I. and Boosie, but the Southern hip-hop scene as a whole. Every leaked clip, every Instagram Live, and every legal motion further complicated the story, leaving fans, journalists, and insiders on edge. And this, my friends, is only the beginning. With more tapes rumored to surface, court battles looming, and the legacies of two Southern rap giants hanging in the balance, the world watches in anticipation. Every move, every post, every revelation could ignite the next wave of chaos. What started as a physical altercation has evolved into a war over reputation, power, and survival in the modern hip-hop industry. The question is no longer who won the fight, but who will survive the storm. One thing is certain, this saga has changed the game forever, and the next chapter could either crown a new king or bury legends under the weight of their own secrets.